Hey everyone, today we're going to look at some tips for crafting an effective customer onboarding methodology. When it comes to customer onboarding, an analogy that I've come to love is the game of Jenga. Onboarding can feel like playing Jenga. It's a multiplayer effort, and each of the players needs to move their pieces carefully at their turn to play this game well. One bad move or mistake can end up toppling things for everyone. So, how do you play this game well? I'll first go back to how things used to be, right? When we all started doing our first few onboardings, I'm sure it was a lot of chaos and we'd have no clue what kind of problems we're going to run into. It tends to be reactive initially as we imagine a smooth process and then we find many challenges along the way. You're adjusting and making note of things for the future. And with time passing, we feel things are getting better, right? So you have a checklist now on a spreadsheet, or you have a Trello board with all of these key activities. So you believe things are shaping up well. But then usually there's a lot of room for improvement, right? When we build our methodology reactively, we only see parts of the problem with our approach. And focusing on those problems helps us get to a local maxima. It's not going to help you even realize what truly great onboarding can feel like, as it's not even on your radar. When we are optimizing on a single dimension, the returns we get from additional efforts start going down. So you need to open your eyes to more dimensions and take a proactive approach to level up onboarding and truly see what that global maxima can look like. So, how do we craft a great onboarding plan? How do we get better at what we do? How do we truly level up our onboarding journeys? I'm going to take you through a sequence of tips that can help you craft a great onboarding journey for your customers. So here's the first tip. Use project plans and schedules instead of checklists. Many of us use checklists, and yes, they are useful, but your whole onboarding should not be based on the checklist. Here's how it works, right? Let's say you give your customers a 20-point checklist and say, hey, get all of this done, and you will be successful with our product. Typically, what's going to happen is that they're going to have to be on top of multiple execution threads around these tasks and chase different people on their team to get things done. You'll find that they end up getting to like 50, 60% there with each of these items on the checklist, but not being able to push anything across the finish line. And this is because they're paying attention to all of these items on the checklist rather than, focusing on one. Their focus is divided. And we've seen time and again, if you give your customers a project plan instead of a checklist and say, hey, here are 3 things you need to get done this week, and here are 4 things you need to get done next week and focus on, it's more likely that they're going to focus their energy on just those items and take them to completion. The second thought is give different themes for different time periods of your project plan. So if you like to break down your project plan into weeks, for example, then maybe week 1 is just about ensuring that the goals are decided. Week 2 may focus on the basic setup and configuration. Week 3 may be all about integrations and customizations. Week 4 could be about review and training, right? So by focusing your energy and by naming these weeks after specific themes, you will ensure that the customer understands that, hey, this week is about getting these aspects done. And for me to move to the next step, I need to complete everything that there is in integrations and customizations, for example. The third idea is don't jump straight to your implementation. You need a phase to prepare to start. You need a pre kickoff, which is about you aligning with the customer, ensuring the right people come to your kickoff meeting, ensuring the agenda is set the right way for the discovery and kickoff meeting, and so on. They say well begun is half done. And truly, with these projects, ensuring the kickoff is done well can be worthwhile with the right preparation from both parties, as it ensures there's no surprises down the road and you're able to commit to the right path, understanding the goals and desired outcomes really well. Number 4 is about having a conscious focus on value. We are used to thinking of completion of activities as the job being done, but you can't be farther away from the truth. For an implementation and onboarding journey, you can't focus your goals on achieving a certain go live date. You need to keep ROI and value delivered for your customer in mind every step of the way. So, in discovery and scoping, Ensure the customer understands what value they get with the scope defined. If it's training, focus on the part of training that's high ROI. If it's migration, make sure you're prioritizing migrating the data that matters and adds value. So basically, bring that value orientation with you everywhere in the plan, in the activities, in the conversations, in the decision making throughout the journey. The fifth idea is to make your onboarding methodology adaptive based on the maturity of the customer. There's no one size fits all onboarding methodology. You need to understand where the customer is today and meet them there and pull them up to the right level from there. If someone's at level zero, you can't try to get them all the way to level five or maximize ROI in one shot. That's setting the project up for failure. Rather, you need to aim to be realistic in where the customer can get to with the first phase of your onboarding. So divide your onboarding into phases and take them through the whole journey of maturity, but do that over time. So the first value you deliver needs to essentially be about, hey, you're here today. Why don't I help you level up in this one aspect while you adapt to our new software? We can rather focus on these other dimensions and truly help you extract the full value of our offerings over the next 12 months, say, and then build upon that rather than try to take everyone to the same peak right at get go. Number six, use workshops where you can. Workshops ensure your team and the customer's team are moving ahead and the customer doesn't get stuck with other activities, not finding time to do the tasks they need to do to finish your implementation and onboarding project. If you have a bunch of tasks and the customer needs to complete them within a week, you may sometimes find that they come to your next meeting without having made much progress. And they may say, hey, we had these other priority items that came up for us and we couldn't find the time to do this. Converting your activities into workshops, like a 1 hour or 1.5 hour workshop that you can put on a calendar, creates the forcing function that helps your customer make progress. And you know that you can help them make that progress as well by doing it together. Next is what we call the 70-30 rule. Ensure that in any customer onboarding, your team is doing over 70% of the heavy lifting of the work. And ensure that the customer knows you have their back and are working to ensure their success. You need to make sure customers don't feel overwhelmed at any point in time. If there's integration work that they need to do, either offer services or create custom guides that take out the effort of planning and solutioning from their side. Your implementation solution architect needs to understand their environment and give them the right steps. If there's testing to be done on the customer side, provide them with a complete guide that ensures that the testing proceeds smoothly at their end. So codify your expertise and offer it to the customer for every step that needs their involvement and take out a lot of steps from their side if you can. Number 8 is the steering committee. This probably applies more for mid-market or enterprise customers where the exact stakeholders aren't going to be on every call with your team. So ensure that you have a cadence of meetings with the decision makers and executive sponsors at the customer side. This will help you shine the spotlight on any problems along the way, help you discuss and finalize decisions on things that are stuck. Because sometimes the project team isn't able to make that decision quickly, prioritize things right, and tie things back to the impact and value for the company. The steering committee can do this for you, unblock you, make quick decisions, and help things move fast. The ninth thought we wanted to share is focus on delivering first value faster. Ensure that you're breaking down the project the right way and not aligning all deliverables towards the end. Instead, you're doing things iteratively and you're figuring out how you can get the customer to start seeing value faster. You may not have all the integrations complete, but still, if there's some value for individuals working on your software, try to go live with that and then add those other integrations. Don't make it all or nothing, for with customers waiting for things to happen. The next is about designing your methodology to be as comprehensive as possible, but not overwhelming. When I say this, it's about how you present a picture of what's involved to the customer. So, for example, if you're creating a project plan, you need to understand what are the high level elements that you're going to expose to the customer as key activities on the project. If there are further details, you want to either add them as subtasks that aren't immediately overwhelming to consume, or as checklists in case you don't need each of those items to be tracked with time and responsibilities. Number 11, create the right useful milestones and checkpoints along the way. So you want to make sure that you're getting to some points where you're able to showcase to the customer that, hey, you've accomplished something and you're putting all of this energy towards it, right? And we are already seeing some sort of benefit from it. It tells them that you've reached 3 out of the 5 milestones. So we are 60% there as a way to see what's happened so far and make sure you're progressing in the right direction. I'll end with this thought. Number 12, end the journey of your project plan with a dream destination for the function you're working with or for the company. Customer onboarding isn't about going live, as I said before. And your project plan can also showcase that in a way. You can say, hey, our project plan does not end with a go live. Our journey ends with you being successful. And here's how we can make you successful. As an example, at Rocketlane, our customer onboarding projects end with what we call the onboarding day at the customer site, especially for our larger customers where change management is more critical. We say, hey, Rocketlane is about leveling up your onboarding and implementation function. Our software does part of that. It helps you impress your customers during onboardings, and it helps keep things on track. But it's not all down to just software. So let us also work on adoption and excitement around the transformation to this function, right? So we create and craft an onboarding day where it's like the whole onboarding and implementation team or customer success team participates, and they're presenting ideas around how they can level up the onboarding journey for their customers and wow them. Now, some ideas use Rocketlane, some don't, but any transformation needs that positive energy around leveling up, and onboarding day does that for us. We are at the end of all of our tips, so I'll leave you with a cheat sheet as a resource. So this sheet shows you various elements that can go into your onboarding. So these topics are, things you may want to focus on at different parts of the journey, and make sure you're covering these through your customer onboarding methodology that you've planned. Thanks for watching the video. We have more useful resources around how you can level up your customer onboarding on different dimensions. So check out our onboarding maturity model on our blog at rocketlane.com. Join our Slack community preflight.cx to learn from your peers and talk to us to learn how Rocketlane can help you accelerate your time to value. Thank you.